Reminder that any political party trying to make it harder to vote is sending a clear message. They can't win on their ideas alone.
So Stephen A. Smith just grilled former Labor Secretary Robert Reich about elite political hypocrisy. And it's exactly the kind of honest journalism we need. He's challenging Reich on gerrymandering, immigration politics, and whether Democrats practice what they preach. This gets uncomfortable fast.
What do you say to critics or to anybody that's just standing from a bird's eye view, not taking a side one way or the other, that says the Democrats and the Republicans are doing the same thing when it comes to issues of redistricting and gerrymandering?
This is what real journalism looks like, asking the uncomfortable question both sides avoid. While most media figures stick to partisan talking points, he's forcing Reich to defend why Democratic gerrymandering somehow differs from Republican gerrymandering. The squirming starts immediately.
Well, but some would argue that that's happening now, but they've been engaging in redistricting and gerrymandering for years, both sides of the aisle. Neither side is new to this. It's been going on for decades now. What do you say to that?
Perfect follow-up. He's not letting Reich escape with vague platitudes about Republican bad behavior. The persistence here exposes exactly why voters are fed up. Politicians from both parties have been playing these redistricting games for decades while pointing fingers at each other.
Let me lean towards illegal, the immigration issue, whether legal or illegal, but the immigration issue percolating throughout the country and has been since Trump has returned to office, obviously, because there are a lot of folks on the right that lean towards that. They say Biden let millions upon millions of people into this country illegally.
Smart framing here. With Trump back in office since January 2025, immigration has become the defining issue again. The census citizenship question debate from 2019-2020 is back in focus as Republicans control redistricting after the 2030 census. Reich knows where this is heading.
Census counts the total population, not just those who are eligible voters, and that Democrats wanted this because that's how they wanted to gain an advantage. So the only way we can combat that is making sure that we redistrict, that we gerrymander, that we put ourselves in a position where we can gain some kind of advantage. And that's what they're saying has instigated this whole game in this particular moment, at this particular moment in time. To that you say what?
Brilliant trap. He just used Reich's own logic against him. If Republicans gerrymander because of immigration boosting Democratic census counts, then Democrats started this cycle. It's the same justification both sides use. We have to cheat because they cheat first. Pure hypocrisy exposed.
Many working class Americans, across multiple groups, by the way, have appeared to move towards Donald Trump politically. Is it possible they're seeing something your analysis might be missing, sir?
This hits at the core contradiction. Reich claims to champion working class voters while those same voters increasingly reject his party. Trump won union households in 2024, something that should terrify Democrats. The working class sees through the elite condescension Reich represents.
Yet you talked about that and you said that they didn't have somebody strong enough to go against him before. Who's the person that you see that's strong enough in the Democratic Party to go against him now?
Oh,
what am I missing?
You think I'm going to tell you who I'm in favor of?
You gonna keep that from me, sir? You're not gonna tell me that, sir?
Relentless questioning. Reich clearly has no answer because the Democratic bench is historically weak. Gavin Newsom, Gretchen Whitmer, Josh Shapiro, none have national appeal. Meanwhile, Republicans have DeSantis, Ramaswamy, potential Trump dynasty members. The contrast is stark.
What do you say to listeners who see you as part of that same elite system you criticize? I can imagine people watching right now, and you got somebody on the right that's going to say something like that about Robert Reich. What do you say to that?
Perfect gotcha moment. Reich spent decades in elite circles, Harvard professor, Clinton cabinet, Berkeley, yet positions himself as the working class champion. It's the same credibility gap plaguing Democrats, wealthy elites lecturing others about inequality while living in bubbles.
But I'm paying attention and I'm not refuting it, but I'm just, my antennas are getting raised because you've repeatedly warned about a recession, declining U.S. dominance, a rise in oligarchy, but the U.S. dollar, remains the world's reserve currency. That hasn't changed, and the economy hasn't collapsed. So at what point if any at all, do you reassess the level of alarm in your analysis, if at all?
Devastating fact check. Reich has predicted economic doom for years while the dollar remains king and markets hit records. His track record of failed predictions undermines his credibility. Sometimes the doomsday prophets are just wrong, and persistence doesn't equal accuracy.
Today's Supreme Court decision effectively guts a key pillar of the Voting Rights Act, freeing state legislatures to gerrymander legislative districts to systematically dilute and weaken the voting power of racial minorities, so long as they do it under the guise of partisanship rather than explicit racial bias. And it serves as just one more example of how a majority of the current court seems intent on abandoning its vital role in ensuring equal participation in our democracy and protecting the rights of minority groups against majority overreach.
Perfect callback. Obama's 2023 statement proves the hypocrisy perfectly. Democrats only care about gerrymandering when Republicans do it. When California eliminated competitive districts or New York drew partisan maps, crickets. The selective outrage is exactly what working class voters reject.
I'd like you to give 3 concrete policies that a centrist Democrat and a moderate Republican could pass in the next Congress to actually reduce inequality in your eyes. Could you come up with 3? I'm sure you can.
Exactly what voters want. Concrete solutions over partisan rhetoric. Reich can't answer because modern Democrats focus on identity politics and cultural issues rather than bread and butter economics. Practical bipartisan policy would require admitting Republicans have valid ideas too.